For as long as I could remember, the QSP Penguin has been the ultimate entry-level pocket folder for any budget. Coming in under $40 and often on sale for closer to around $30, QSP absolutely hit a home run with this little guy. Yet several years on now, QSP has released yet another knife seemingly in the same vein as the famous Penguin. Sticking with the animal naming convention, this is the Ferret. Featuring a pretty similar footprint as the Penguin, this keeps the same smooth action and overall minimal footprint. It actually upgrades the blade steel to Nitro V. With a current retail price just under $60, this has potential to be the next great budget knife. So today we're going to compare these two offerings side by side and take a closer deep dive into the Ferret, and hopefully we can determine if this is another home run. So let's check it out. Before we go crazy into the comparisons and all that fun stuff, let's just focus on the Ferret first. And this really came on my radar last month, and after loving the Penguin so much, I really wanted to give this one a shot as I felt the blade shape might be a little bit more usable for just everyday tasks. Speaking of this blade, this is coming with a 3-inch blade of Nitro V, which I personally find is a nice small upgrade over D2 that the Penguin came equipped with. I really like this blade as you have a really nice large belly for cutting, and best of all, it's completely devoid of any branding on the front or the back and only has the steel marking really small here. I really love when the blade is blank like this and just looks so much nicer in my opinion. This also has some jimping on the spine, and though it's not really aggressive, it goes back on the handle a little bit. It's at a really nice spot to lock in your grip. Similar to the Penguin, this is coming with a liner lock, and it's easy to disengage. When opened, the lock is very secure with absolutely no wiggling or play, and best of all, the action is pretty nice too. I don't find it as smooth as my Penguin, but that just might be from breaking it in. This is still a new knife, so I haven't really had a chance to carry this a ton yet. The thumb studs work great, and the blade falls shut without really too much movement, so the action is pretty dialed in. Rounding out the rest of the knife, this is coming with G10 handle scales, and some variants even have aluminum or copper foil, which make it look really cool. The handle is just 4 inches, and having small to medium-sized hands, I find this is just enough grip. It's definitely on the smaller size, so I can still get a full 4-finger grip here and not feel like I'm sliding off. If you want a little bit more real estate, you can add a lanyard here in the back, as this features a pretty small lanyard hole. Finally, we get to the pocket clip, and this is kind of my meh moment on the entire knife. It's just a kind of a standard black fold-over steel pocket clip, nothing fancy or crazy, just a pretty average clip. Though I might argue it's slightly below average, as this one's pretty thick and it features a rather big swoop here that has the potential to catch on some things. Fortunately, this is a pretty common hole pattern, so I might swap this guy up down the road. Now the big question is, how does this stack up to its predecessor, the almighty Penguin? It's pretty hard stacking up to a great, but this is almost double the price, so this should absolutely blow the Penguin out of the water, right? Well, actually not so fast. Side by side, they're very similar. Both are about the exact same size, both 4 inches in the handle when closed, and then both about 7 inches when fully opened. And though they feature different blade shapes, they still share almost the exact same amount of cutting surface. In this particular area, I actually prefer the blade on the Ferret, as it's a little bit more usable blade shape with a pointed tip, but both are excellent. The Ferret also has a slight edge for me with the Nitro V compared to D2. I also prefer the clean blank blade of the Ferret, so the edge here as well. That said, the Penguin has a clean pivot, while the Ferret has branding on the pivot instead of the blade, so it's a little bit of a toss-up. Now moving on to the handle, we have micarta on the Penguin and G10 on the Ferret. Now this of course is just total personal preference and kind of a moot point, as you can get whatever handle material you like, but I really like the micarta on the Penguin and the handle of this one just a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, both are really comfortable in hand, but I just find the Penguin a tad more comfortable due to the shape and this almost finger guard here at the pivot. The Penguin also has a much larger lanyard hole that's about twice the size of the Ferret, so if you want a chunky lanyard, keep that in mind. Now let's move on to the action, and fair warning, I haven't had the Ferret very long at all, so it's kind of hard for me to say much because I haven't really broken it in yet. With that in mind, I still have to go Penguin here. The Penguin just absolutely flies out and then just slams shut. In fact, this is one of the most fidgety knives I own. While the action on the Ferret is good, don't get me wrong, the D10 is a little bit strong. You have to put about twice the amount of pressure to deploy the blade. Once you disengage the liner lock with a small shake, it still comes shutting closed, but not as smooth or as fast as the Penguin. Again, I haven't broken in this knife just yet, so it's really hard competing against the Penguin. The last thing I want to cover is the pocket clip. This is such a boring thing, but if you're like me, we're pretty particular about our knives, so I thought I'd cover it. Both clips are just pretty plain black steel carry clips that work really fine. Nothing crazy, just fine. I'd have to give the edge actually to the Penguin here, as the Ferret's clip is just so much wider and features this really crazy ramp that can potentially catch on something. So after comparing these two, is the Ferret worth the cost? We get an upgraded blade steel for sure, but I think it's much closer than one would initially think. I don't think it dethrones my Penguin, but honestly, I don't think anything will. Let's talk about value, as the whole premise of this video is seeing if this is the next great budget knife. Is this the greatest budget knife out there? Well, no, because the Penguin we just looked at is about half the cost and almost the same thing. But is this a really great budget knife? Absolutely. For somebody just wanting a really solid, reliable, everyday carry folder with nice action and good steel, this guy's a really solid choice. QSP just continues to impress me with every knife they put out, and this is no different. This is at a size where it's really comfortable to carry all day, and it's not so small that you forget about it, but not so large that you really even notice it in the pocket. It has nice action, a good performing steel that's pretty easy to sharpen but tough and durable, and a comfortable handle shape, and it comes in a variety of different blade finishes and handle colors, and all for the price under $60. That's a lot of knife for the money in my opinion. So if you're just starting out in this hobby and want to upgrade on the classic Gerber paraframe or a gas station knife, this is a really strong option. Or you can just be like me and having knives 3 times the price, but just love the simple clean look of this guy. It's hard to go wrong here, especially with all the different versions they offer. At the end of the day, I feel like the Ferret is another hit from QSP, and it's pretty easy to see why. Offering a clean, simple knife like this and these materials and all these different colors and variants, it will appeal to almost everyone, especially at this competitive price point. Though I don't think it's the best budget knife out there, it probably isn't too far off. I really love seeing what QSP comes up with, and I'd honestly love to see a more premium version of this offered in the future. This knife was S35VN, and my cart of scales would just be killer. So what do you guys think of this knife? Would it be something you'd carry? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to help out the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.